Okay. I think we're at a good number. Robin, what do you think?
I think so.
All right, awesome. Hey everyone, my name is Guillermo. I am the co-founder of Pay Our Interns. For those of you that don't know the organization, we are the advocacy group that has been very much pushing the paid internship movement, not just on Capitol Hill, but outside of Capitol Hill as well. That wonderful growing budget that you guys have received over the last few years has been thanks to the work that the small but mighty team that we have has been working on, but also the team that we've partnered with for this event, College to Congress. So I want to have Robin introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Like Guillermo said, my name is Robin Terry, and I'm the Communications Director for College to Congress. I know many of you may be familiar with our mission, but just as a reminder, College to Congress is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting internship experiences on Capitol Hill for students from rural, disadvantaged, and low-income backgrounds. Pre-quarantine, that meant we paid for their housing, their flights, their airfare, meals, even their wardrobe. And we worked with over 70 congressional offices. Several of you are here today. We're very excited to see you, to train and place them in paid internships. Post-quarantine, you already know what that means. We've moved digital. We've moved our knowledge to an online professional development platform called C2C University. If you've already chosen your interns, I suggest adding our courses. You can visit them at c2cuniversity.org as an assignment or a prerequisite for your onboarding procedures. All of these links and the document that we'll be reviewing today will be shared with you, and the links will be in the public chat as well at the end of our talk, so don't feel like you're missing anything. The last few things on housekeeping is that we're going to be sending you some poll questions throughout our chat today. Your answers are greatly appreciated. This will just be internal for our numbers. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A. And if you have a question for the group or would like to share a strategy, please raise your hand and a moderator will be in touch. So a few of you submitted questions beforehand. Thank you so much. We received so many that I'm going to answer those first at the end of our talk today. After we review the two-pager that I'm about to pull up, and time permitting, we'll get to the Q&A questions. So now I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know and raise your hand if you can see this.
Okay, good. People are seeing it. Fantastic. Things are working.
Wonderful. Things are working. That's what I like to hear. So I'm going to take you through the best practices lightly. We all know that death by Zoom presentation is a real thing. So, but I'm going to make some recommendations on tools that you can use as we go through the steps. So with recruiting, while we make the recommendation of at least 6 weeks and a minimum of 10 hours for internships, we know each office will be different. If your office is still recruiting for an intern that is willing to be remote, you can send your job description to info@collegetocongress.org and we will share it with C2CU graduates. Being able to utilize Microsoft Teams is going to be a boon for offices according to CHA, for congressional offices, because that way you'll be able to at least intern, vet them, and you'll be able to use it for check-ins, and you'll also be able to use it for any follow-up interviews that you may need. So with the second step with onboarding and orientation, we know that you probably already have a digital guide to onboarding and for your orientation. If not, that's also one of the things that we list as a possible project for your interns, and Guillermo's going to talk a bit more about that in a second. But if you're already dealing with a shrinking internship pool and you don't want to publicly share your position far and wide, if you'd rather focus it towards a smaller group of pre-vetted, pre-trained interns, you can do so by sending the job description to info@collegetocongress.org, and we can share it with our graduates. C2C University is, we take courses that we would have normally offered to our interns in person as a week-long boot camp before they ever stepped on the Hill. So they're arriving as a fully deliverable intern who know the ins and outs of their internship already. So for the third step, goal setting, we all know SMART goals. That takes us a little bit more back to school. We we recommend setting these according to your intern's needs because according to their according to their universities or their colleges, their requirements for getting credit for their internship may have changed. Also, if you wanted to extend their internship, then they can look more towards long-term projects instead of day-to-day tasks, which allows them to hone in and have a long-term focus in being able to apply that to either their project that they have to turn in for their courses for credit, if that's an option for them. For the daily and weekly check-ins, depending on the bandwidth, depending on your bandwidth, some offices have reported pooling their internship funds, even for their district offices, and advertising towards either college seniors, recent graduates, or graduate students, so that they're able to deliver more substantial projects. That's one option and one strategy that offices have been utilizing. And we've also provided a simple template in this document that's linked that you can use to guide your check-ins, whether they be daily or weekly, with your interns as well. With longer term projects, you can also focus in on the weekly check-ins rather than the daily ones. So with offboarding, we provided a document that can help you guide a reflection at the end of your internship for purposes for your records and for the interns' records as well. And so with that, we are going to go to the second page of the two-pager. Guillermo, can you see this okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Awesome.
Great. Hey, everyone. So I know that this is obviously a weird time for all of us. We are, as many of your offices are just adapting to the fact that you're working from home. Some of you are still questioning how much longer this will take and the process of it all. Right off the bat, I think it is important to share that most universities and colleges, if not all, have canceled their DC in-person programs. So having individuals come in to the school to come into Washington, D.C. are somewhat difficult. So we want to make sure you keep that in mind, which is why we're really advertising this remote option. That being said, there is still so many things that interns can be doing remotely. A big question, and I know compensation is at the bottom, but we're going to start off with temporary hire and fellowship options. And there's two reasons for that. One is that prior to the email that went out last night, but that email that House Admin sent out has been extremely helpful. Now that any paid intern does have access to the security tokens needed to take on the tasks that include, filing emails, faxes, and stuff like that. But temporary hires as well as fellowship hiring options are also a way to ensure that your interns have full access the same way that you do as a staffer. So some important thing to note is that prior to the email going out, we did learn that the House Supply store is what is currently equipped with the laptops and cell phones needed for these virtual internships. So if the office does need to purchase those, please reach out directly to the House Supply store, and they should be able to help. So the good thing with allowing interns to work from home remotely with that security presence is that, the projects no longer have to be just what can they do without the security. Because originally we wanted to invite you all to take this opportunity to kind of rebuild your programs, specifically because these interns are going to be doing things remotely, and something that they could do is help you rewrite an intern manual, something that you might have been putting off for a long time. This is now a really good opportunity to do that. Restructuring your capital tours, what do you want your interns to do when they do, what is that format that you want them to do? But also planning weekly online webinars is critical to ensure that you have a direction with your interns, not just between the two of you, but also could they be doing something for the office in an outward-facing fashion? There's a list of things that interns can be doing even without the security clearance that they would need to file emails, to help with constituent work. But now with that security token being available, we are excited about that because they can help you guys get up to speed again with the emails, get up to speed with the faxes. I know that, even though things have shut down, uh, constituency services have not stopped. And so I know that you guys need that help. Um, Obviously, as the co-founder of Pay Our Interns, pay is the name of the game here. Paid internships are what we are advocating for the most. The reality is, and I'll be blunt, the stimulus package did leave out young people, in particular college students, many of them being the ages of interns that are currently probably interning for you or will intern. These individuals are looking for these internships and paid opportunities desperately. If you might have canceled your program or if you feel that you didn't have enough applicants, I promise you, revamping it now, you will see an influx. Now is a great time to connect to your local community college, great time to connect with your state school and advertise there. Because even though they're not physically coming to DC, this is a really cool opportunity to invite constituents to actually take on these internship opportunities. That being said, our teams have really sat down to figure out what does equitable mean during a time like this. Uh, One of the things that has made interning on Capitol Hill the most expensive experience is that they have to physically be in Washington, D.C. As we all know, Washington, D.C. is not cheap. And so rent is super high and stuff. But being that many of these interns will be working 100% remote, we are looking at a different approach here, and something that also helps your offices have more interns while also maintaining a certain threshold of a budget. But our recommendation is $1,000 monthly stipend for a part-time intern. That is what we're recommending. Um, I think I don't know if Robin will agree with this, but one of the things that we're trying to steer clear of is the full-time aspect. A full-time intern being 100% remote. I mean, it's just a lot of work. It's difficult to have someone, and I know you guys yourselves being full-time and staring at a screen all day long could be difficult. So I want you guys to keep that in mind as well for the young adults that we have taking on these opportunities. So yeah, that is the recommendation that we've come up with. We'd love to. I'm going to have Robin answer some of the questions that she had that came in yesterday, and so we want to make sure that we cover some bases, and then we'll definitely open it up for you guys to ask the questions that you guys might have right now, because we want to make sure that it's less about us talking at you and more interacting with you.
So I'm going to review a couple of the questions that came in through our Google form yesterday. Thank you so much for sharing. And it looks like I'll start with the first one. Our organizations were able to get the House to agree to rule changes allowing interns to work remotely using using House devices. And then it's asking if the needle has moved at all with the Senate Rules Committee. And that is something that College to Congress and Pay Our Interns is actively working towards to expand paid internships in both the House and the Senate, and also getting these rules upstanding for their district interns as well. And we're hopeful that the Senate will follow the House's lead. I also see that per the new guidelines set by House Admin that came out yesterday, if you guys aren't, if you haven't already taken a look at those, can we use House internship funds to purchase teleworking equipment? And the answer to that is it's stated that member and committee offices should use any unspent 2019 or 2020 MRA funds to purchase teleworking equipment. That includes laptops, tablets, and cell phones for interns. So this applies to paid interns too, whether the interns are paid from the MRA, from program funds, or the committee funds. So equipment is available for purchase at the House supply store. And I'm going to give you that extension right now. It's 53321. So whether your intern was paid from the MRA program funds or committee funds, you can use any unspent 2019 or 2020 MRA funds for that purpose. And we had another question come in and they asked if the 120-day rule will still apply. And according to those updated rules that came out yesterday, yes. Interns paid through the House Paid Internship Program must still be a part of a demonstrated education program and may not be employed by the member for more than 120 calendar days. These are great questions. And another great question was the majority of the intern's responsibility is answering phones and giving tours. Guillermo, does that bring back memories for you? It certainly does for me.
Yeah, I
um,
mean, I remember when I was an intern on the Hill, our offices would not only have us tour, but they'd have us directly interact with constituents. So that was always, in a different fashion. So that was always fun.
it's always fun. You get the best stories from those. So how can we get the main phone line forwarded to other remote phones? And I'm gonna have to say you're gonna have to ask Committee on House Admin for the answer to this question. A couple of these will have to come directly from offices, and they can give you the complicated context and the follow-up answers that you may need for this too. The majority, I'm gonna give you the extension for the majority line, which is 52061, and the extension for the minority side is 58281. And one thing that I also want to make clear regarding C2C University is that um, we've we've always focused our efforts on students who are from low-income, rural, disadvantaged backgrounds, and the same goes for the focus on diverse candidates for C2C University as well. So the graduates that we have available there who are pre-vetted, pre-trained, and are looking for a remote internship opportunity in Congress. It's a very diverse pool there also.
This is an interesting question. Let's see if I can answer this live.
Sure.
We were asked, if we start DC interns remotely, do you have any tips on how to handle this if the House brought back and remote work is ended? That's actually a really interesting question. It's not something that's come across my mind. I would say that's something that our two organizations will definitely touch base with House Admin about, because it's hard to have someone who's temp, who's only going to be probably on your payroll for 10 weeks or 12 weeks to be able to come in, even if it does end in the middle or something. That is something we will, our two organizations will definitely look into and we'll hope to follow up on. So thank you for asking that.
Great question. So it looks like we had a question come in when it comes to making sure interns get the tech equipment that they need to telework. Your office, oh, looks like Guillermo, do you want to take that one?
Oh no, I thought you were doing. Oh, sorry.
No problem. No problem.
Go ahead, Robin. Go for it.
You took care of me. I appreciate that. And let me move over to the new tab. So as a reminder that this, sorry guys, I just lost the question, but as a reminder that this two-pager document that Guillermo and I just covered will be available, will be shared with all of the attendees. The website for the classes for interns is c2cuniversity.org. And that is available to any student, They don't have to already be associated with College to Congress or pay our interns. And as another question that just came in, how many hours a week do you recommend for remote interns? We recommend, Guillermo, you said a minimum of 10, but no more than 10.
Yeah, I would say a minimum of 10. That way you feel that you at least have a valuable team member. What would you, I wouldn't exceed probably 25 hours. I mean, what do you think, Robin? I think 25 hours, 30 hours tops, to be honest.
Tops.
Like,
completely agree.
Yeah, especially if you're focusing on that $1,000 a month stipend, you don't want to go over that either.
So a really great question. Oh, found it. If we start DC interns remotely, do you have any tips on how to handle things if the House is brought back and remote work is ended? So two things would have to happen for that. There would have to be a formal call if the House is brought back and then you found the need to still have an intern in the office. That would have to call for like the formal ending of these rules for the House to have the remote internship program. So if and when that does happen, there will probably, Guillermo, do you think there would be a chance of any heads up or any ahead of time notice that would be provided for that? I know that can be a really short turnaround, and
Yeah, that's a problem with a situation like this, is it can be a very quick turnaround, which is why I think we're going to really talk to House Admin about ensuring that, like, if an intern starts as a remote intern and like the rules do get laxed, like, can we at least keep the house interns remote if they started off as remote? I think that's because we don't want to uproot someone and have them
well, the
either
biggest thing
quit
would have to
or
be their transportation getting to DC. So
yeah,
that's why we're pushing to be able to get some heads up or some notice on that.
yeah. Um, this is actually a good one. Part of a valuable internship, part of a valuable internship is networking component. How do you recommend helping interns getting to know our whole staff and other office staff virtually? So, things like Zoom are really going to help. These virtual happy hours that people are having, virtual interactions that might not have to do with work. That's going to be really helpful. Definitely have the interns kind of interact with each other right off the bat, and then they'll have that kind of ingrained in their system. Robin, what other recommendations do you have for that?
So with that, the virtual projects that you referenced on the second page of the two-pager are really going to break out some ways that this can be beneficial and educational for them as well.
Yeah, yeah. So we definitely want to make sure that interns are getting not just doing all the work, but also interacting with your offices as much as possible as well. So, and we will be sending out that two-pager afterwards. Thank you. So this is interesting. So this one says, how do you recommend actualizing a part-time remote internship? Setting exact hours or assigning projects estimated to the appropriate weekly hours. So this is definitely something that's going to be up to your office. Every office is different. Every office is handling the current crisis differently. So I would kind of go at the direction with how your personal office is dealing with the current climate. If your office expects you to be online between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., then that's how your office is functioning. But if your office is functioning on project basis, on daily check-ins and stuff, then I would reiterate that for your interns as well. Robin, any other suggestions there?
Well, that's a great answer. You summed it up really well. With I would look at the history and talk to your intern coordinator if you're not already the intern coordinator in your office to find out a bit more about the interns that you've had in the past and had the most success with. If it was a grad student that needed a lot less hand holding, then you're going to apply. You're going to look at long-term projects, research projects. You're going to look at things that they can possibly apply to their thesis or something that can be picked up by the next intern for the next session. You're going to do probably less infrequent check-ins with them. If you do need an intern that's walking you through the processes that they are going through with the mail and answering the phones, if that's been your greatest success in the past, then you're going to have to actualize that as being a lot more hands-on daily morning and evening check-ins, and that can look like something like a shared document. It doesn't necessarily have to be in person all the time, or you might even be able to have the actualization of giving Monday assignments and then checking in on that using project management tools to check in on that as you go throughout the week.
Yeah, and just a quick thing from a personal perspective, Pay Our Interns has two virtual interns currently working for us. And I, you know, I trust that the hours that they're giving me is the hours that they're working on, but I also know what projects they're working on. So, we have at the beginning of the week where we check in with what's going on, and we tend to have an open line of communication too. So whether that's text, email, or Slack, however your office is doing it, having those daily check-ins and allowing your intern to know that, like, they can at least let you know what they've been doing and stuff like that is really important. So that's my recommendation. I'm not the type of person that expects you to be online during certain hours as long as, like, certain things are getting done. So, but again, that's taking the temperature of how you believe your office will handle it. So yeah.
We had a great question come in. Our office recently bought new staff equipment and laptops. Do you have any tips on additional projects for district offices for virtual interns without the house equipment? So in Guillermo covered this a little bit earlier on some great ways that that the focus is on non-secure projects that they can still get done, especially if they aren't going to be able to get their VPNs and their fobs very quickly. There's still some great things that they can work on in the meantime.
Yeah, I would recommend utilizing the time to really build up your internship programs for the fall and for the spring. This is a really good opportunity to have your interns kind of help you structure what the internship program should look like. I really believe in the power of lived experiences, and like who better to help write an intern manual than an intern. So that's a really good opportunity for you to utilize these interns and say, hey, like what would you have wanted your in-person experience to have looked like? And you'll have some honest and candid feedback from them. So I think that it's a really good time for you guys to look at the stuff that you've had on the back burner for a long time. I mean, I can't tell you how many offices have put off intern manuals, have put off, a proper capital tour, or they'll use another office because they don't actually have a capital tour that they use, so it's like now's a really good time to utilize this time to build that out. So we have someone who asked, so someone reposted the question, Robin, can we get tech equipment on a temporary basis so we don't have to spend money on actually buying laptops and phones, given that we will not need them after the lockdown ends? So I have a personal answer, but I'd love to hear Robin's input too. Will the lockdown end? Yes, but should this ever happen again, your office has spare. I think that this isn't money that goes to waste. I do believe that this is money that can always be reused. You never know when something like this could happen again. And so I don't think it's 100% of a waste. But Robin, do you have any insight on that question?
That's a great question. I think that this is also something that we can look into in speaking with house admins, seeing if that's something that you can either get. If not, there can be like a program where you turn it back in, so you're able to get some sort of form of reciprocal, I don't want to say reimbursement because that's asking for way too much, but seeing if you're able to turn it in, and then you're having that extra that you're able to check out at a later time. So if in the fall, when you have one intern, you only utilize that one. In the summer, when interns are plenty, that's when you'll be able to check that information back out, that equipment back out.
And then this is a great question. Here it is. Any recommendations on how to proceed if district offices open before DC offices? Thinking of hiring interns in the district if possible. So the good thing is that for the first time, you can now use the intern pot of money that we've been advocating for district interns. So that's a really big plus. So that's obviously my first recommendation, is making sure that you're utilizing that compensation. The second thing is that that's a great opportunity for you to really connect with your constituents who are in the area that want to intern with you guys. So in terms like how to proceed with that, I would look at the onboarding suggestion that we have in the first page of that doc, and utilize it in that fashion, and potentially move it into the in-person setting the same way you would in the DC office, as long as it's of course safe to do so. So but the whole point here is that you can actually pay them, which we're really excited about.
And
So
with
I know it's 4:30, so we don't want to keep everyone here. We're collecting these questions. We may come up with some Q&A for you guys to actually send out, but we really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to connect with us and to hear from us. Both Robin and I, and both of our organizations, are open to any questions you might have directly, one-on-one. Both of us have the info at our organization's name.org. So info at payourinterns.org or info at collegetocongress.org. Robin, any final thoughts?
You will be receiving the two-pager that we went over today, and also some links that we mentioned. There are also links within the two-pager for specific tools and templates that you can utilize for actualizing your internships into a remote position during this public health crisis. So we hope all of you are staying safe and healthy, and we really appreciate your time, and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you all so much. We really, really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you guys when we can. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.